What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvice.com, bringing home the bacon NFL DFS video for Week 7 top stacks that I'm going to be targeting, and I think you need to be targeting as well. So, after the end of this video, or during the video, comment down below some of the top stacks you guys think are going to take it down this weekend. Maybe ones that we've talked about, maybe ones that I have not discussed in the video. But I'm going to give you 5 of my favorite ones this week. And how do we get these, you may ask? Well, we use all of our tools at FantasyTeamAdvice.com. Under the NFL tab, we use our Bacon Station. We use volume reports, snap counts, red zone, player projections, everything there. On top of that, we use Vegas odds and today's sponsor and always our sponsor, Outlier.bet. Now, signing up for Outlier.bet, you get a 7-day free trial. Use our link, go through the 7 days, and get the normal package. We're going to give you a free month of FTA+. If you sign up, use our link, and go for the Pro package, we're going to give you 3 months free of FTA+ once that 7-day free trial is up and you have purchased the packages. So if you have any questions about that, you can always email us, dfshelp1@gmail.com, or you can hit us up in our Discord right down below, which is completely free. You can DM us over there, and we will try to help you out there as well. So that being said, we're going to dig into these numbers. We're going to look at everything, and we are going to hopefully help you bring home the bacon. But before that, some free bacon. Giveaway every single video. Here's how to win. Be a YouTube subscriber to this page. Like this video and leave a comment. You got to leave a comment for the comment picker to pick you up. 50 likes on this video, you have a chance to win a free week of FTA+. 100 likes on the video, you'll chance at a free month. That is every single sport that we offer for a month. NBA comes back next week, every sport. MLB is winding down. We're getting close to no MLB content once there's only the World Series is here. We've got NASCAR, a couple more weeks in NASCAR. NBA is in full swing. NFL is in full swing. PGA will start to slow down a little bit. Still got MMA as well. If this video gets at least 150 likes, you have a chance at a free yearly pass, which is a $200 value. 200 or more likes on the video, a chance at a $500 lifetime pass. So, that being said, let's dig in. Let's find some of our favorite stacks, and we're going to dig into the numbers as to why we like these plays just as much as hopefully you will like these plays. So if you have not already checked it out, I've already put a video out for Week 7 for our rankings at every single position. We've got over 300 players ranked. The articles are on the screen as you can see, but I will link that video at the end of this video. Help us out. The longer watch time you watch on these videos, clicking on the ads, it helps the algorithm. So it's completely free. It is only me doing these videos. So if you could help a brother out right here, that would be amazing. So let's jump into it. We are going to look at 5 of my favorite stacks. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to show them on DraftKings. We're going to show the stack of what it looks like and possible bring back options. Meaning, you want to target a game, and this is not always the 100% number one, hey, this is how we build a lineup, but this is going to be a build around. So we're going to do the stack, which is always going to be a quarterback and a pass-catching person, most likely a wide receiver. Sometimes you've got a running back in that situation. So we'll show that, and then we'll show the bring-back players that we like if you're going to do a game stack because you think maybe they're going to score a ton of points in this game. So that being said, we're going to start with number 5. We're not going to start with number 1. So stick around. If you like the video, if you like the content, let us know. In the description of this video, we have started a TikTok channel. We have started posting more on Instagram, so if you guys want to follow us over there, that would be amazing as well. So, number 5 stack for Week 7, I've got Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings coming off of a bye week. So we've got Darnold, passer rating of 103.4, over 1,100 yards already, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. It is a maybe comeback player of the year. I don't know if it's a comeback, but it's a very good year for him so far. They had a week to get their mind right, get ready to go, undefeated, see what they can bring to the table. Now, what we look at the Detroit Lions against the opposing quarterback. Detroit is ranked now on DraftKings because that's where we're at. Detroit is ranked 16 of 32 against the opposing quarterback, so that is right in the middle. They're giving up an average of 17.2 fantasy points per game to the opposing quarterbacks. He is averaging 17.7, so it's right on line to get that. Now, if we look at game logs, we can see against the Jets, he did not do very well. 179 yards, interception, no touchdown, 6.26. They still ended up winning the game. Before that, that is pretty much what brought his fantasy points down. He's had 2 games under 20. He's got a great matchup in a game that Vegas believes. Let's see. Vegas believes this game, as of now, of the making of this video, I should say. So maybe, depends on when you watch this video, it might have changed. But they have a 50.5 over-under. And the Vikings are currently a 1.5 point favorite. So, looking at this, they have the 3rd highest over-under behind Washington and Carolina, Atlanta, and Seattle. So they are 3rd. So that is a great matchup there. So now we want to look at Minnesota. We want to look at, it's early. It's one of the early games. We want to stack. So now you could go with running back. Now, I'm not going to. I'm going to go with pass catchers. Aaron Jones, questionable. Did have, the week off, obviously. We don't know how he's doing. He really screwed us over when he left that game so early, especially in our sports bets. But neither here nor there. We are past it. That is 2 weeks ago. I'm going to go with wide receivers. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is number 1. I've got Jefferson as the number 1 ranked wide receiver in week 7. And you can check that video out after this. It would be awesome if you guys would check that video out. Because we look at this. Detroit Lions against the opposing wide receivers, they are ranked 29th on DraftKings. They give up an average of 45.4 fantasy points. So obviously Justin Jefferson is the dude in this place. But I like Jordan Addison as well. And I also like Jalen Naylor as well, depending on what you're looking at. Now, Addison really hasn't done anything 2 of the 3 weeks that he has played. But in week 4 against Green Bay, 72 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 rushing touchdown as well. So 22.9, he is 5,600. It does allow you to go other directions. Naylor is in the same boat with him, 4,500. He's a cheap option. So you could go with either of those. So if you want to go with Darnold and 2+ pass catching backs, I am okay with that. So if you want to pay 5,600 for Addison, that's okay. He's obviously has more fantasy points per game, but he has played less. But he is the clear wide receiver 2 in this offense here. So that is the Minnesota side. What is the bring back? What are we looking at? Obviously, we're looking at Detroit. Both of these running backs are in play. Jahmyr Gibbs last week. Game log, 12.1. No touchdowns. Got the receptions there as well. David Montgomery, I believe he had 2 touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground. This is the only problem that we have is they run the ball. I mean, they ran it up on Dallas. They run the ball a lot. Montgomery steals goal line from Jahmyr quite a bit. And they're close in price. That is the problem. But if this game stays close and it's up high, I think David Montgomery sees at least 1, if not 2 touchdowns or looks at touchdowns. But then we look at the, you want to bring it back 1 more play, maybe 2. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I followed that Portnoy DraftKings special touchdown thing, and I almost cashed out. I almost cashed out at like $12 when the bet was 25. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, for no reason at all, but was still in that game up 35 points. Scored that touchdown there. He's obviously a stud. He's got Minnesota's defense gives up the most amount of fantasy points to the opposing wide receiver. They give up 46.5 fantasy points to the opposing wide receiver. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown is in a great spot. Jameson Williams has, he had that huge week 1, and he's had a couple of weeks that have been great, and then he had a very bad game against Arizona. But he still had a touchdown there. He has 3 touchdowns on the year. 6,000 there if you want to save 2,300 from St. Brown. I completely get that as well. So you could go in that. You're still averaging 3,700 the rest of the way. So you find yourself a defense that you like this week. Just depends. Pretty much I need to go with a defense any week that's going up against Deshaun Watson because he's bad. So then you go around and you can average 3,800 the rest of the way, which might not be able to do it. So maybe you take out St. Brown and you put Jameson Williams in there. So if you take him out, you go Detroit, you go Williams, you can average 4,600 the rest of the way. So that's not too bad. You can find some value when you build around. So that is stack number 1, Sam Darnold and the Vikings with a bring back of some sort of offense from Detroit. So stack number 4. I've got, and this is for the entire week. So this is Monday night. So if you're playing Sunday, Monday, this is Justin Herbert. We look at Justin Herbert coming off, he was injured. He hasn't really had that big of a game yet. We still know what he's capable of. He's only 5,500. He's so cheap. We've got to get him in there as a starting quarterback there. Now, J.K. Dobbins, as long as he can stay healthy, he is putting up some numbers minus against KC and Pittsburgh where they were already down. If they can stay up in this game, if Marvin Harrison is out of this game, I love this even more because Kyler looks absolutely lost right now. It's crazy how he was playing the first start of last week. You still got J.K. Dobbins to dump off passes there. You still got touchdowns out of him. But wide receiver, McConkey is questionable. Quentin Johnson is questionable. Josh Palmer is there. He's a cheap $4,400 option. Really hasn't done anything. If I'm going to stack, I'm going with McConkey. Now, if McConkey's out, I'm probably out on Justin Herbert here because there's not a ton to love here outside of that. You've got your tight ends that they aren't very good here. In this game against Arizona, we've got, where's it at? 43.5 over under. It started at 46, so it has gone down. The Chargers are 2.5-point favorites. So Vegas thinking the game might stay close. It is a very low over under though. So that's definitely something to pay attention to. If, again, Ladd McConkey is out, I am out on this stack right here. But then we got to do a bring back. We got Arizona bring back here. If Harrison is out, Michael Wilson makes a ton of sense being 4,600. You do have a chance you could go James Conner. You could also go Trey McBride. Now, this is not necessarily the stack I'm going to go with, but this is kind of a stack you could look at or a bring back here. So I think I would choose 2 of the 3 Arizona guys here. So whether or not it's McBride, if Michael Harrison Jr. is out, then yes, I'm going to go with Michael Wilson. If Harrison is back, I'm probably going McBride and probably going James Conner as the bring back in our 4th stack for week 7. All right, moving up the list right now. Our number 3 stack on the year. We've already talked about part of it. It's Jared Goff. Okay? We're going Jared Goff and we're going Detroit as the main stack. Because again, this has the 3rd highest over under 50.5. If they think the Vikings are going to be up and Jared Goff needs to be throwing the ball a ton, I love that even more. So if we look at what Minnesota does against the quarterback, they are ranked 19th out of 32, give up an average of 18 fantasy points per game to the opposing quarterback. Goff is averaging 19.4, 105.3 passer rating. I love that. Obviously, threw the ball up. I mean, they were up so big last week, 315 yards. He's flirting with 300 yards the past 2 games. Could easily get that in this one here. I love Jared Goff going in this situation. Running back situation, yes. I think it's Montgomery or it's Gibbs. They're basically the same price. I'm probably more towards a Montgomery stack. But if you want to do the dump-off passes, it's Jahmyr Gibbs because he takes more of the passes. Here we go. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jameson Williams. Because like we said earlier, Minnesota is dead last against the opposing wide receivers. They they give up 46.5 fantasy points. So Amon-Ra St. Brown is that dude. He's averaging 17. Jameson Williams, you're going to save 2,300. He's averaging 15.3. So a cheaper option. He allows you to go different directions. Or if you think Detroit, you think it's going to be a very high-scoring affair, you maybe get these 4 in. I don't know if I would go in that situation, but let's build one and see what we can do around there. So then you've got to have the bring back from Minnesota. Jefferson, Addison. Jefferson is going to be way more expensive, and when you put him in there, you can only average 3,400 the rest of the way. Again, you could go at defense in Cincinnati because, again, going up against Cleveland. So you're at 3,500 if you keep in Justin Jefferson in that. If you take him out and you put in Addison, you average 4,400. If you take Addison out and put in Naylor, you average 4,800. So there's different levels that you can go with the bring back here. Really just depends on if this game stays close like Vegas thinks it will, which hopefully it's way better than the Chargers or the Lions and Cowboys game last week. So I do have Jared Goff. I think if you're doing a stack with him as the main guy, you're going Jahmyr Gibbs because he does run and he takes the passes, which is going to get you double points with Goff. And then Goff throwing to Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, if you take St. Brown out and you go those guys, you can average 5,700. So really depends on how you want to go, or you want to make multiple different Lion stacks. Switch out Gibbs with Montgomery, switch out Williams with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and vice versa for stack number 3. All right. Moving into stack number 2 of the week. Another Monday Night Football game. There's 2 Monday night games this week. Baker Mayfield. Absolutely love Baker Mayfield in this one. I put a bets video out 2 days ago. Some of our top bets, our favorite bet, 3 bets for week 7. I really like Baker Mayfield to throw for over 300 yards and a minimum of 2 touchdowns. So, what does that look like? Baker Mayfield coming in. We look at quarterback. Baltimore gives up the 3rd most amount of fantasy points. They give up 21.7 fantasy points per game to the opposing quarterback. Now, Baker Mayfield is the number 2 overall quarterback in 2024 through the first 6 weeks. So we look at him, his passer rating is 109.4, 15 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. He's averaging 24.4 fantasy points per game. He's averaging huge numbers, and who is he averaging them to? Yes, the running back situation was a little bit different last week. No one was on Sean Tucker, who's at 4,000, except the guy who won the Millie Maker. He put him in there. So again, if Rachaad White is questionable, if he's in, he was inactive last weekend. Again, we're kind of waiting on that to see. And then all Sean Tucker did, Sean Tucker must die. 37.2 fantasy points. 14 attempts for 136 yards and a touchdown, 56 yards in the air, also a touchdown there. He's going to be very expensive. He's probably going to put up a dud this week just because everyone's going to be on him for being $4,000. So let's fade him off of here and just go with what we want to go with. So what I'm looking at, everyone's going to be Mike Evans. He's questionable. I'm going to pay $100 less and go with Chris Godwin, who is the number 3 wide receiver for week 7 for us. I absolutely love him here. Chris Godwin is the number 3 overall this week. He's also the number 1 rated wide receiver through all 6 weeks of the season so far. So he's got great numbers. Evans is the number 1 dude, but technically I think Chris Godwin should be. I absolutely love Baker to Godwin. Now, you can go with tight end. You go K. Dotton. Coming through, he did get a touchdown for us last week, only 9.5 fantasy points, had 15 yards, but did have that touchdown. So this might be a mini stack here. Or if you look what Mike Evans was able to do last week, he did nothing. The 2 weeks prior to that, he did something. Now, he's got a nagging leg injury, so he's probably out. So you could bump up Sterling Shepard at 3,500. I mentioned him back on against Atlanta in that Thursday Night Football game, and he came through for a touchdown for us. Again, though, he's so cheap, he allows you to go other directions if you do want to go a full Baker stack there. Now we flip it, and we look at Baltimore for the bring back. Obviously, Zay Flowers has been unbelievable. Last week, back-to-back 20-plus fantasy points. Week 2, he had 22. Week 1, he had 11. You can see he had 2 down weeks here, but he's got a great matchup here against Tampa Bay. I love Zay Flowers this week. Tampa Bay ranks 27th against the opposing wide receivers. 40.3 fantasy points per game on DraftKings is what they're giving up. He's averaging 14.7. Zay Flowers is going to be hopefully a great man to have in your lineup here. Another one you could look at would be Mark Andrews, who had a great week last week. Only 4 targets, 3 receptions, but did have a touchdown for 66 yards. Maybe he's turned a leaf. But you could also look at Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry coming off huge game against Washington, 132 yards. No actual targets and no receptions for any yards, which is wild. Don't normally see that. Against Cincy, pretty good, 16.6. You would love to see more, obviously. High-scoring game there. They had to throw the ball a ton. Buffalo, he had 199 yards, and they had 10 yards through in the air as well. So Derrick Henry's obviously makes a ton of sense. And I don't mind him at all. I mean, you could put him in there and you're going to get a little bit here where I don't know if it's feasible. In this game for Monday night, it's got a 49.5 over-under with Baltimore being a 3.5 point favorite. So maybe if they are up, Derrick Henry makes a lot of sense. You then go back and I got to go into Bengals. We can go Bengals, and now you're at 4,900. So you can go with a tight end somewhere. Kittle's the number one, so you can go 6,000. Now you're at 4,400, so you could go Tucker. Let's say you do go with Sean Tucker again. Now you're at 4,900 for a flex, which isn't bad. So if you were to build like a lineup here, I'm not saying this is a lineup I'm going to be using, but I might throw it in there now. You got P. Ryan, who, again, Kansas City, you really don't know what they're going to do, but he has not done anything. You got Justice Hill against Tampa Bay, but he's had one good game and nothing else since then. You got just other directions, like Jerry Jeudy's going to be that number one wide receiver now with Amari Cooper being out, but he's got no quarterback to throw him to. So this is just ways, Lad McConkey, if you want to get him in there. I mean, that is actually a lineup I don't mind. I'm going to put that in there right now just to get that in so I remember it. But yeah, it's not too bad as a secondary stack with a bring back with Baker Mayfield. And that brings us to number one stack that I love this weekend. You probably can guess it. Our number one quarterback for this week, Jaden Daniels. Jaden Robertson Daniels. I just made that middle name up. But we look at this, has the highest over-under of the week, 51.5. Weirdly, it opened up at 41. It is now jumped up 10.5 to 51.5. I don't know if I've ever seen it jump that big. Washington has gone from a 3-point favorite to an 8-point favorite. It's a huge jump. That's weird, but I'm still going to take it. It's early. It's in the middle. It's the afternoon window. He's put up 20-plus fantasy points in every game but week 2 against the Giants. 2 touchdowns. He's got 6 touchdowns on the year with only 2 interceptions, which we absolutely love to see. Now, looking at what Carolina does. Carolina Panthers ranked 24th out of 32 against the opposing quarterback. They give up an average of 19.5 fantasy points per game to the opposing quarterback. That's fantastic numbers. I'm going Jaden Daniels. And same thing what we did. Now, Brian Robinson might be out. If Robinson, he is questionable, but if he is out, I love this play here. Carolina gives up the most amount of fantasy points to the opposing running backs. So if Robinson is out, I love Eckler. They give up 34.9 fantasy points. Eckler loves to catch some passes as well. You see at 47 yards through the air, 21 on the ground, put up double-digit points here. I will take him in this matchup here. You take him, he does dump-off passes. You're getting points for Daniels. You're getting points for Eckler. We're all getting points. Wide receiver is the one where it's kind of like, where are we going to go? Because all of their main guys, as of the making of this video, do not have a designation. They've got anywhere from 5 guys to throw it to. You can see the averages here. Terry McLaurin, F1. I'm going with him as a stack. I like this stack here. You could also go Zach Ertz for a 4-man Washington stack if you believe they're going to go up big. If they go up big, then they got to start running the ball. I think Eckler makes a lot of sense if Robinson is not 100%. So the only thing is, now what's the bring back? Hubbard makes a little bit of sense. Hubbard there, 15.3. If we look at running backs for Washington, Washington against the running back, though, they're ranked 23rd out of 32. They give up 27 fantasy points per game, so Hubbard makes a lot of sense. He's averaging 17.1, so they are giving up a ton of they ranked 19th. They're giving up 24.3 fantasy points per game to the running back. So he's still in a great spot here. 6,500, especially if Andy Dalton just dumps off passes to him or hands the ball off to him. But then if you want another one, Deontay Johnson or Leggett, don't care. If Johnson is out, he did not practice Thursday. If he is in, I'm good to go with him. If he is out, then that obviously bumps up Mr. Legs, or even maybe Jonathan Mingo here for a cheap option. So it really just depends on how you go. So the number one stack for week 7 for you guys to be thinking about and building around, Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, which is a weird thing to think about. Never thought I'd say, hey, Washington, they're pretty good. So that's what I've got. Absolutely want to know the other stacks or players that maybe we didn't talk about in here. Who do you like? Tell us down below. That'll count as your comment for this video if it reaches a minimum of 50 likes. So that's what I've got. Good luck in week 7. Hopefully everyone brings home the bacon. Let's just have some fun out there this week, okay, guys? Now, I will be putting out the breakdown for the main slate using SaberSim probably a little bit early this week. I will be in a wedding on Saturday, so I might be dropping it early afternoon on Saturday, or I might schedule it to drop early so you guys have a full 24 hours to go around there. So I'm going to make that video. I'm going to get that out to you guys. So be on the lookout for that. Hit the bell notification if you have not already. Watch this video a couple of times or just play it in the background to have the play time help me out so I can help you guys out. So that's what I've got. Good luck in week 7 with stacks, with